Shannon Sharpe couldn't hide his frustration. Watching Shedeur Sanders deliver a breakout performance, racking up over 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing score, only to be yanked during a crucial 2-point attempt, was too much for him to stay calm. It wasn't just about stats, it was about momentum, trust, and timing. Sanders had earned the right to finish what he started.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Yet Kevin Stefanski benched him at the most pivotal moment of the game. Sharpe's reaction? Disbelief and outrage, fueled by a sense that the organization might be playing a different game entirely, one that had little to do with winning. The decision to pull Sanders, even momentarily, undercuts every principle of competitive football. When a rookie makes history and positions the team within striking distance of a win, removing him in a defining moment sends a damaging message. Sharpe and Johnson's sharp criticism isn't just about one play. It's about a pattern of decision-making that devalues potential, mismanages talent, and raises uncomfortable questions about what the Browns are really prioritizing. This might go down as one of the most confusing coaching moves of the NFL season. Shannon Sharpe was not holding back. In a heated, he let the Cleveland Browns, and specifically head coach Kevin Stefanski, have it for benching rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders during a make-or-break moment. And honestly, it's hard to blame him. Let's back up. Shedeur Sanders, in just his 3rd NFL start, was making history. Literal history. He became the first Browns quarterback since 1950 to throw for over 300 yards, toss 3 touchdowns, and rush for a score in the same game. That's not just good, it's franchise-defining. Elite rookie territory. This isn't a footnote kind of performance. This is the kind of game that puts you on NFL maps. And yet, somehow, when it came down to a crucial 2-point conversion attempt with the game hanging in the balance, Stefanski pulled him, took him off the field, benched him. Sharpe couldn't even believe it. Why would you not trust the guy who's carried you through the entire game? That was the energy. That was the mood. Chad Ochocinco Johnson, sitting next to him, was just as baffled. Let's be clear, this wasn't a case of Sanders struggling. He wasn't flailing under pressure. He wasn't missing reads or panicking in the pocket. He was thriving, making plays with his arm, his legs, and showing serious composure. The decision to bench him didn't make football sense. It didn't make any sense. And this wasn't the first questionable choice of the game. Earlier on, Stefanski had already raised eyebrows by going for a 2-point conversion way too early, when an extra point would have tied the game. Standard football logic? Take the tie, regroup, push forward. But Stefanski gambled, took a risk for no apparent reason, and it backfired. So when it came time for a second 2-point call, with Sanders absolutely on fire and in rhythm, the expectation was simple. Let your quarterback lead. Let the guy who got you here take it home. Instead, Stefanski sat him, put someone else in. Sharpe and Johnson were stunned, and their reaction wasn't just about this one play. It was the bigger picture, the pattern, the vibe. Because when you look at it all together, the early 2-point attempt, the last-minute benching, the inconsistent play calling, it starts to feel intentional. Like there's something more going on behind the scenes. Sharpe said it out loud. Is this sabotage? Not even as a joke, as a real question. And honestly, he's not alone. There's a growing suspicion that Stefanski and the Browns organization aren't fully behind Shedeur Sanders. That maybe, despite his historic performance, there are politics in play. Maybe they're not ready to let an unexpected rookie shake things up. Maybe they're tanking. Maybe they're under pressure to stick with a different plan. Either way, what's clear is that Stefanski's decisions don't line up with someone who actually wants to win the game or build around a quarterback who just broke records. And again, it's not like Shedeur's some random fluke. He's been proving himself. This wasn't a lucky game. His throws were tight. His awareness was sharp. His leadership was obvious. He looked like a quarterback you build around, like someone with long-term upside. And Sharpe pointed it out. What more does this guy have to do to earn trust? Let's talk draft status for a second. Sanders wasn't a first-round pick. Wasn't even a second. He came in as a fifth-rounder. And that matters, not because of talent, but because of perception. The NFL loves its narratives. Teams will back their hype picks through struggles. But when a lower-round guy outperforms expectations, suddenly it's complicated. Suddenly, there are development timelines and system fits. Sharpe and Akasinko weren't having it. They see through it. You've got a rookie quarterback breaking franchise records in Game 3, and the coaching staff won't even let him finish? That's not strategy. That's sabotage, or at best, insecurity. It sends a message, too. Not just to Sanders, but to the entire locker room. If your guy can go out there, ball out, and still get benched in crunch time, what does that say about trust? About merit? About the so-called next man up mentality? And don't think this stuff doesn't matter. For young quarterbacks, confidence is everything. Early support, real investment from the organization. That's what separates one-year wonders from actual stars. Right now, it looks like Sanders is doing everything right and still getting treated like an afterthought. Meanwhile, his teammates do believe in him. His family, his friends, even fans believe in him. Everyone can see the talent, the poise, the hunger. Everyone except, apparently, the Browns coaching staff. Sharpe called it out straight. If this is how you treat your quarterback after a historic game, what does that say about your priorities? Because again, this is bigger than just one weird play call. It's about whether the people in charge are actually trying to win or just playing games behind the scenes. Even if you don't think it's sabotage, the alternative isn't much better. It's incompetence. Game Management 101. When you've got a hot hand, you ride it. You don't yank your best player at the most important moment. And you definitely don't call unnecessary trick plays when simple logic would do. So we're left with two options. Either Stefanski doesn't know what he's doing, or he knows exactly what he's doing. And it's not about winning games. The irony? Sanders' performance should have been the story. A breakout rookie moment. A remember this name headline. But instead, we're all talking about why his own coach didn't let him finish what he started. And it's frustrating. Because if the Browns had just let the guy play, this whole narrative could be different. Instead, we're here again, talking about how organizational politics and bizarre coaching choices are killing momentum before it even has a chance to grow. And Sharpe is clearly tired of it. Tired of seeing young talent get undercut by leadership that doesn't trust what's right in front of them. Tired of excuses. Tired of watching teams treat development like a PR game instead of a real strategy. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Shedeur Sanders. It's about a larger pattern in the NFL. A league where undrafted or lower drafted players have to be perfect to even get a chance. Where high picks can fail for years and still get more opportunities than a fifth rounder who just made history. It's exhausting. And it's why fans are fed up. You can't say you want to win, then make moves like this. You can't say you're building for the future, then sabotage your most promising future piece in real time. The bottom line? Stefanski has a lot of explaining to do. Because this wasn't a tough call. It wasn't a 50-50. It was a clear moment that required trust. And he folded. On national television. In front of everyone. And the worst part? The Browns lost anyway. So not only did you bench your star rookie during a moment that could have defined his early career, you still walked away with an L. Sharpe's reaction wasn't overblown. It was warranted. The frustration, the confusion, the disbelief, that's how everyone should be reacting. Because if a performance like Sanders doesn't guarantee trust, then what does? Let's talk about it. What do you think Stefanski was thinking with that decision? Was it sabotage or just bad coaching? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns of NFL chaos, coaching fails, and quarterback drama, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Let's get something straight. This wasn't just a tough loss. This was a self-inflicted disaster, served up cold by a coaching staff that seems more committed to confusing its own fans than actually building a competitive football team. The whole point of football, at any level, is momentum. When your quarterback is hot, when he's in a rhythm, when he's making defenders look silly and turning busted plays into highlight reels, you don't bench him. You let him cook. That's not strategy, that's common sense. But Kevin Stefanski looked at Shedeur Sanders lighting up the stat sheet and said, "Nah, we're good." It's the kind of move that makes you question whether the game is actually about performance anymore. Because in this case, performance didn't matter. Stats didn't matter. History didn't matter. A 300-plus yard, 3 TD, 1 rushing TD performance meant nothing. All that mattered was the coach's ego, or maybe something even more cynical. Shannon Sharpe didn't tiptoe around it. He didn't throw out soft critiques or coach speak. He said what a lot of people were thinking. This feels like sabotage. And not the cartoon villain kind, more like the slow, quiet kind that kills careers before they have a chance to grow. You could hear the disbelief in his voice. "You're telling me this kid just gave you one of the best rookie QB performances in franchise history, and when it's time to trust him, you don't?" It's not just bizarre. It's insulting. To Shedeur, to the fans, to the entire idea of meritocracy in sports. And Chad Johnson was right there with him. Both of them sat there on nightcap, trying to make it make sense. Spoiler, it doesn't. They went back through the timeline. Early in the game, the Browns score a touchdown. Crowds hyped. Momentum's real. Everyone expects a safe PAT to tie things up. But what does Stefanski do? Goes for 2. For no reason. No logic. Just vibes. Fast forward to crunch time. The moment everyone had been waiting for. The game on the line. Another 2-point conversion, but this time it matters. This time, it's the difference between a win and a loss. And Shedeur, who's been your best player all day, is pulled. Replaced. Sidelined. It's coaching malpractice. And here's the thing. This isn't a young coach making rookie mistakes. Stefanski's been around. He knows how game flow works. He understands situational football. Which is why Sharpe's suspicion makes sense. This has to be something else. And that's where the conversation turns dark. Because when football stops being about football, we're in dangerous territory. Was this about tanking? That's the word Sharpe threw out, and not lightly. He pointed out that organizations sometimes make strategic decisions that aren't about the current game. They're about the draft, about long-term chess moves, about internal politics. And when you bench your quarterback during the most important moment of the game, even after he's played lights out, it starts to feel like the team isn't playing to win. And if they're not playing to win, what are they doing? You start connecting the dots. Sanders wasn't a high-profile first-round pick. He wasn't the guy the front office built a marketing campaign around. He wasn't supposed to outshine the veterans. And yet, here he is, dominating, commanding, making fans believe. And maybe that's the problem. There's this ugly part of the NFL that nobody wants to talk about. Optics over output. Sometimes, organizations fall in love with their own narratives. They pick their guy in the offseason, talk him up all summer. And when a different player suddenly outperforms him, it's inconvenient. So instead of adjusting, they suppress. It's happened before. Talented players get buried behind politics, contracts, image control. And right now, that's exactly what it looks like is happening in Cleveland. Shannon Sharpe wasn't just frustrated. He was angry. Because he's seen this story before. A young, talented quarterback finally gets a shot, delivers a performance for the ages, and gets punished for it. What message does that send to the locker room? What does it say to fans who just want to see good football? This isn't just a tactical error. It's a breach of trust. And let's not forget what this could have meant for Shedeur. These are the kinds of games that define rookies, that build confidence, that galvanize teams. A game-winning 2-point conversion after a monster day? That's the stuff of legend. That's how you become the guy in a city like Cleveland. Instead, he was left standing on the sideline, watching someone else try, and fail, to finish the job. It's demoralizing. It's damaging. And for what? The organization can't spin this. They can't pretend it was about fatigue or package plays. No fans buying that. You don't pull your red-hot QB in the final moments of a historic game unless you don't trust him. Or, worse, unless you're trying to control him. Sharpe and Johnson made it plain. This wasn't just a football decision. This was something deeper. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was politics. Maybe it was pride. But whatever it wasn't about winning. And the irony? They still lost. So Stefanski doesn't even get the excuse of it worked. His gamble didn't pay off. His decisions didn't result in a W. They resulted in one of the most confusing losses of the season. And now, instead of riding the high of a breakout rookie, the Browns are dealing with a media firestorm and fans demanding answers. Sharpe was blunt. This is how you destroy young quarterbacks. Not by yelling at them, not by overworking them, but by undermining them, by pulling the rug out when they're just getting started, by making them doubt their own success. Because how does Shedeur Sanders walk into that facility the next day and feel wanted? How does he trust that this team is truly behind him? He did everything right and still got pulled. It's a lesson the NFL never seems to learn. Talent doesn't flourish in chaos. You can't build a dynasty on distrust. And you definitely can't keep a locker room together when your coaching staff is making decisions that defy logic and performance. What makes this sting even more is that Sanders isn't just some flash in the pan. He's showing signs of being that guy. The way he moves, the way he sees the field, the way his teammates respond to him. It's real. And in a league starving for the next great QB, the Browns might have found one and immediately tried to shrink him. It's a mess. A mess that didn't have to happen. A mess that was created not by failure, but by success that someone upstairs clearly wasn't ready for. So now the question isn't just why did they bench him? It's what now? Does Sanders get another chance? Does he stay confident? Does the team rally around him? Or fall deeper into confusion? Fans deserve answers. Sanders deserves support. And Stefanski? Well, he's got some explaining to do. Not just to the media, but to his players. Because this wasn't just bad football. It was a betrayal of basic football values. And the league is watching. And here's the thing, we're not talking about one bad play call in a meaningless game. This was a statement moment. Every young quarterback dreams of a chance like this, a historic performance, a chance to lead your team to victory in crunch time, the trust of your coach in the biggest moment of the night. And Shedeur Sanders got robbed of that. By his own coach. Let that sink in. You spend the entire game proving yourself. Outplaying expectations. Outperforming veterans. Leading drives. Taking hits. Delivering under pressure. Putting up numbers that haven't been seen in Cleveland since before color television. And when it's time to finish the job, you're pulled. Yanked off the field like you're the problem. And all for what? For someone else to run a stale, predictable play that didn't work? For the team to walk away with a crushing L? And for your achievement to get overshadowed by bad coaching? It's not just disrespectful. It's demoralizing. Shannon Sharpe said it best. This kind of thing doesn't just affect the player in that moment. It creates ripple effects. It chips away at confidence. Not just in Sanders, but in the locker room. Because if that performance doesn't earn you the right to finish the game, what does? It sends a loud, clear message. It doesn't matter how well you play. If you're not the chosen one, they'll find a reason to bench you. And that kind of culture, that kind of environment, it's toxic. The Browns already have a long, cursed history with quarterbacks. It's practically a running joke in the NFL. But this is a new low. Because they had something. They had a moment. A spark. A rare, real opportunity to show growth as a franchise. To say, hey, we're actually getting this right. And they blew it. Publicly. Willingly. And now, instead of a win, they're dealing with backlash. Instead of praise for developing talent, they're being accused of sabotaging it. Instead of riding high on a breakout rookie performance, they're dodging questions about what exactly Stefanski was thinking. And it's all self-inflicted. Because again, this wasn't some average performance. Sanders made NFL history. Not just Browns history. NFL history. You don't stumble into those numbers by accident. You don't throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and run one in yourself unless you're built different. That's the kind of stat line that gets you written into Rookie of the Year conversations. That's face of the franchise material. But none of it mattered in the end. Because Stefanski decided something else was more important than winning the game or backing his own quarterback. And maybe that something is what Sharpe and Johnson were trying to put a spotlight on. Because this is where the NFL gets messy, where merit doesn't always matter, where internal politics start driving football decisions. Was the plan always to ease Sanders out, regardless of how he played? Was there pressure from higher-ups to keep another guy on track? Is the team trying to tank and doesn't want a talented QB to mess that up? None of it's confirmed, but all of it is on the table. And the fans know it. You can feel it online, in conversations, on every sports show covering this disaster. Nobody's buying the idea that this was a rational football decision. You don't pull a guy playing that well unless you have an agenda, or you're in way over your head. And if it's the latter, then why is Stefanski still coaching? That's the uncomfortable question. Because you can only say trust the process so many times before people start asking whose process. And to what end? Right now, Shedeur Sanders is being treated like a glitch in the Matrix. He wasn't supposed to play like this. He wasn't supposed to force a decision. He was supposed to sit quietly behind the scenes while someone else failed publicly. But instead, he went out and made it impossible to ignore him. And the Browns' response was to shove him back into the shadows. It's maddening. And for a fan base that's already endured decades of quarterback chaos, this feels personal. They're tired of seeing talent wasted. Tired of watching hope flicker just long enough to be crushed. Tired of bad decisions getting spun into meaningless coach speak about game flow and matchups. Let's call it what it is. This was not just a coaching blunder. This was a betrayal of trust. You don't get many moments like this in the NFL. You don't find quarterbacks who step into the spotlight and immediately deliver. And when you do, you hold onto them for dear life. You don't bench them. You build around them. If the Browns want to be taken seriously by their fans, their players, or the league at large, this can't happen again. But that's the big question, isn't it? Will they learn from this? Or will they bury another star before he's even had the chance to shine? Let us know what you think in the comments. Was Stefanski out of his depth, or was something more deliberate at play? And does Shedeur Sanders deserve better than what he's getting from Cleveland? If you're just as tired of these coaching decisions ruining great talent, make sure to like the video, share it with your fellow football fans, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next time the NFL loses its mind. Because at this rate, you know it's only a matter of time.